Hi, this is Anu and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you joined me for another tutorial, and today we are back making a cocoon cardigan. I love those. I cannot get enough of them. I make one every year. I'm going to post pictures of the one we had done in the past few years, but the one thing in common is with all of them is that we began from the middle, kind of making a granny square that kept growing and growing and growing, and that's the way we always built our cardigan or cocoons. Today I will show you how to make it in a different way. We're going to make a big rectangle and turn this rectangle into a cocoon cardigan. So a little bit of another technique. At the same time, I am going to show you how to make this beautiful braid with popcorn stitches that are so beautiful and really easy to make. And yes, so I'm going to take you through it slowly but surely as usual. It is really easy. Do not be intimidated by it. What are the stitches that you need to know? Chain, single crochet, and double crochet. That is it. And the popcorn stitch, of course, but I am showing it to you really slowly. And remember, you can pause, you can rewind, you can slow it down. There is at the bottom of your video in the settings a way to slow down. You look at the little speed and you can do it 1.5, 2 times slower. So, you know, when people say you're going too fast, you can slow it down. It's very easy to do. So here is the beautiful cocoon cardigan that we created this year. I love the color. It reminds me of mountains and snow at the top of it. I am so ready for the winter. Do you like the winter too? My favorite season is the fall. And we had such a beautiful fall in New England. It was long, it was sunny, the colors, because we had so much water this year, the colors were stunning. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now we're getting into the winter, so we're going to be crocheting things to snuggle in. I'm going to crochet for you hats and socks and things that we can bundle up in. If you are not subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? It is totally free. And also come and visit me on Instagram, because I am going to have many giveaways towards the holidays. And for today we are going back to an old tradition. One of you will be able to win the yarn to create this beautiful cocoon cardigan. To participate, super easy. You need to do 2 things. 1, comment in the comment down below, and 2, send me an email at annoocrochetandmore@gmail.com. I will put it right here, and by next week I will choose a winner. So does that work for you? As usual, I will have the written pattern on my blog. Right here is the address. I will have different sizes for you. It's very easy to create smaller sizes or bigger sizes, since it's just the rectangle that you're creating. So it's either a bigger rectangle or a smaller rectangle. That is all there is to it. Still, you will be able to find a written pattern in a few days for different sizes and this beautiful snowy mountain cocoon cardigan. That's it. If you are ready to create with me this beauty, then keep on watching, and in the meantime I will see you next time. Bye, love you. For this tutorial you will need a 7.5 crochet millimeter, a 6.5 crochet millimeter, a tapestry needle, and some scissors. You will also need a stitch marker. I used 6 skeins of yarn from the brand Plymouth Yarn, and the yarn is called Encore Chunky and the color is cream. Alright, so take your 7.5 millimeter crochet hook and make a slip knot. And then you are going to proceed by making chains. I made 84 chains in total. For different sizes, the only thing that matters is that it would be a multiple of 2. I will meet you once we have 84 chains in total. In the 3rd chain from your hook, you're going to make a double crochet. And then you're going to make double crochets all along your chain. So 1 double crochet in each chain. And I will meet you at the end of your first row. And this is what your first row will look like. Chain 2 and turn your work around. And then for row 2, you are going to skip a stitch and make a half double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 1, skip a stitch, half double crochet in the next stitch. Don't forget to chain 1. Skip a stitch, half a double crochet in the next. And this is what you're going to do all along your second row. And I will meet you at the end of your second row. You're creating little rectangles. In the last stitch, make a half double crochet. Turn your work and chain 2, and we are going to make the third row. Now you're going to begin by making a double crochet on top of the double crochet from the previous row, and then a double crochet in the chain space. A double crochet on top of the double crochet from the previous row, and a double crochet in the chain space. And this is what you're going to do all along your third row. I will meet you at the end of your third row. And you are going to end your row with a double crochet in the last stitch. And you are going to chain 2 and turn your work around. And we're going to tackle the fourth row. And for the fourth row, you're going to skip a stitch and make a double crochet in the next. Then you're going to come back to the stitch you had missed and make a double crochet in it. And like that, you're just creating a little X. Skip the next stitch, making sure that you see which one is the next stitch and which one is the last stitch where you made a double crochet. So you skip this stitch and you make your double crochet in this one. And you repeat this all along your fourth row. So skip a stitch, make a double crochet in the next, and then a double crochet in the crochet you skipped. I will meet you at the end of your fourth row. End your row with a double crochet in the last stitch, turn around and chain 2, and let's do the 5th row. The first row will be the first one we will make the popcorn stitch, creating a little braid motif. I will of course show you how to make it. Chain 2, turn your work around. Alright, so what we're going to do for this 5th row, you're going to skip a stitch and make a double crochet in the next and chain 1. And then we're going to come back again to the stitch we had skipped, and in this stitch we're going to make the popcorn stitch, and let me show you how to make it. Alright, yarn over through the stitch and yarn over and back. You're going to have 3 loops on your crochet hook. Pull a little to give it some slack. Yarn over through that same stitch, yarn over and back, and pull a little again to give it some slack. 5 loops on your crochet hook. Again, yarn over through the stitch, yarn over and back, 7 loops on your crochet hook. One more time, yarn over through the same stitch, yarn over and back, pull. At this point you have 9 loops on your crochet hook in total, and what you're going to do now is yarn over through all the loops on your crochet hook. You end that popcorn stitch with a chain. Here you go, look how beautiful. You are going to skip a stitch again and make a double crochet, chain 1 in the next stitch. Then go back to the stitch we just skipped and make a popcorn stitch in it. Yarn over through the loop, yarn over and back 4 times until you have 9 loops on your crochet hook. Yarn over through all the loops and finish your stitch with a chain, and you are going to continue this all along, and I will meet you at the end of your row. Look how pretty. I really like this stitch. I like this yarn. I cannot wait to see the result. And again, at the end of this row, you are going to end it with a double crochet in the last stitch, and then you're going to chain 2 and turn, and we will tackle the next row. Row 6 will be a row of popcorn stitch to make the second part of your braid. Alright, so you're going to go on top of the double crochet, so skip the popcorn stitch and make a double crochet on top of the double crochet, chain 1, and then again you're going to go back to the chain right there, and in the chain space you're going to make your popcorn stitch. Finish your popcorn stitch with a chain, Voila. So you see how it's going in 2 directions? That is what you want. And then again, you're going to go to skip the next popcorn stitch on top of the double crochet, make a double crochet. Don't forget to chain 1. And then again, go back to the chain space and make your popcorn stitch in it. So the chain space is in between your double crochet and your popcorn stitch. And this is what you're going to do all along for this 6th row. And I will meet you at the end of your 6th row. And you're going to end this row with a double crochet as usual in the last stitch, which is usually on top of the chain 2 from the previous row. Chain 2, turn your work around, and now we're going to make the row 7, and for the row 7 we're going to make those X's again. This time you're going to make your double crochet in that chain space in between the double crochet and the popcorn stitch. So you skip the popcorn stitch, and in the chain you make a double crochet, and then you're going to come back, and on top of the popcorn stitch you're going to make another double crochet. So the popcorn stitch that we just missed, that we just skipped, you're going to make a double crochet right there on top of the popcorn stitch that you have skipped. So it is a row again of X's. So you're going to repeat all along, skipping a stitch, making a double crochet in the chain space, and then go back and make a double crochet in the stitch over the popcorn. Here we go. And I will meet you at the end of this row. And with a double crochet in the last stitch, and then chain 2 and turn. We are at row 8. This is the last row of our pattern, and after that we're going to repeat it over and over and over again. And this will be a row of double crochet, very easy, 1 double crochet on top of each stitch, and I will meet you at the end of this 8th row. Look how gorgeous. So what I have done basically is repeat row 1 to row 8, and I did it 5 times in total, so you need 4 more times, 8, 16, 24 and 32. So 32 more rows. At the end you should have 40 rows in total. And now it's time to create with this rectangle the cocoon. I really like this because it's very easy. You just basically make the rectangle you want with the stitches you want, and then you give it that shape of a cocoon. So what you're going to do is fold your work like a tube. So you're going to have the narrow part on the side and the long part will be facing down. And then when you fold the sides in half, you're going to put a stitch marker right in the middle, right there. And this is where we're going to join. So count that you have the same amount of stitches on one side of the stitch marker you just put and the same amount of stitch on the other side. And then you're going to take a crochet hook and you're going to join right there in the stitch you had put your stitch marker. And you know how to join. You make a slip knot just like that, then you pass your crochet hook through the stitch and through the slip knot. So what we're going to do is make one round all around your rectangle of double crochet to kind of pull everything together and to prepare the base for our border. So pass your crochet hook through the stitch and then pass the slip knot back through you and chain 2. And you're going to chain 2 because we're going to make a round. It's a round now. We're going to crochet all around your work of double crochet in each and every stitch. I will show you what to do once you reach a corner because you have 4 corners since it's a rectangle. And yeah, so here we go. We are making double crochets all along until we reach our corner. And voila, here we are at the first corner right there. What you're going to do is in that corner space, a little space in between the 2 last double crochets, you're going to make 3 double crochets in that space. And that is making your corner. Then you're going to go to the side of your work and there you are going to make a double crochet in the chain space and a double crochet on top of the double crochet. A double crochet in the chain space and a double crochet on top of the double crochet. And you are going to do that all along the side of your work until you reach another corner. And right there. Here we have the second corner, and again in the space between the 2 double crochets you're going to make 3 double crochets and then you're going to continue and do the other side and repeat like that for each and every corner. And I will meet you once you meet the first chain 3 you had made at the beginning of this round. Slip stitch with the first chain 2 you had made and then you're going to fasten off. Take your scissors, fasten off. So in the loose tail at the back of your work, and we shall continue. Almost done, guys. Alright guys, so now time for the sleeve. Place your work in front of you like a tube, so openings on the side and at the bottom. And we are going to measure from the top to about midway. For me, it was about 8.5 centimeters from the top going down. And then I place a stitch marker on one side. I do the same for the other side, counting 8.5 centimeters and placing a stitch marker. So from the top of your work to the stitch marker, this will be the opening from your sleeve, and you're going to leave it open. And then from the bottom, going from the side to your stitch marker, we're going to assemble it together. The way I assemble it is super simple. I just slip stitch with my crochet hook. You can do that like me, stitch to stitch, matching it, and slip stitching through both of the sides, or you can just take your tapestry needle and sew it. You use the way you want. You do you, as usual. I am just here to show you how I do it. Alright, so I'm going to slip stitch my way from the bottom of the side up to the stitch marker, and then I will fasten off, and I will repeat it to the other side to create the second sleeve opening, exactly doing the same thing. So the slip stitch will be on your wrong side, and look at the seam on the right side, it is seamless. And that is why I like to assemble my work with my crochet hook. Alright, so you repeat the same thing on the other side, and now we're going to do the detailing. But before continuing, I'll show you how to turn this rectangle into your cocoon. So you place it in front of you with the opening part at the bottom, that tube that you have, and then you lift that upper part from the middle, pull it up like so. And by lifting it up like that, you're creating your cocoon shape. So you have the color at the top, the bottom is down there, and then you have the two openings for the sleeves. But what we are going to address right now is the middle right there. We're going to create a beautiful border. And for the border and for later the sleeves, we are going to use a slightly smaller crochet hook, 6.5 millimeter. You're going to make a slip knot and join anywhere in that middle part when you have your cocoon shaped like so in front of you. So you join, you chain one. Now we're going to make single crochets, but in the back loop only. You are crocheting in the round now, all around that middle part of your cocoon. And for the border and for the sleeves, it will be a single crochet in the back loop only, all around. Okay, I know I'm a little out of focus here and I apologize for it, but you can see that taking the back loop only create that little ridge there. And that is what you want. Continue like so all around the middle of your work, creating the border. And what we are going to do is actually 13 rounds in total of this. You do not need to slip stitch in the first stitch you had made. You can just crochet in the round, like creating kind of a spiral. And if you want to know where your round begins and ends, you can just put a stitch marker like I did. And here you are after 13 rounds, you fasten off, you sew in the loose tail, and look how gorgeous. We are almost done, guys. Now it's time to tackle the sleeves. So here you have an opening at each side of your work. And to create your sleeves, it's super easy. We are using the same single crochet in back loop only. So you're going to pick up single crochet all around that sleeve opening in the back loop only. So you join, chain one, and you go all around that sleeve opening and you make single crochet in the back loop only. And you're going to make 7 rounds of that, creating the sleeves. Of course, I made 7 rounds because I liked that side, but you can make longer sleeve or shorter sleeve. You know, you can make 20 rounds if you want, or 13 to match your order. For me, 7 was perfect. And you're going to make that. Once you have the 13 rounds, you fasten off, you sew in the loose tail in the back of your work, and you repeat exactly the same thing for the other sleeve. Place a stitch marker to know when your round begins and ends, and just crochet. Crochet rounds and rounds of single crochet in back loop only. And this is what your sleeve will look like after 7 rounds. For me it was perfect. I fastened off and I sew in all the loose tails at the back of my work. Repeated the same for the other sleeve, and voila! And just like that, you are done. You just created this beautiful snowy mountain cocoon, and it is gorgeous, and I cannot wait to wear it this fall and this winter. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial as much as I have enjoyed creating it for you. As usual, in a few days you will have the written pattern on my blog. I am sending you kisses and hugs, and I will see you next time for my next tutorial. In the meantime, happy crochet. Bye. I'm eating my hair. I love the way English say hair. My hair. Mes cheveux, quoi. Bon, allez, on y va. Prayer that keeps growing. Get that. Pause. Whoops. Sorry, microphone. Beautiful. And okay. If you're not subscribed, blah 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 blah.